Thing behind and move forward, because right now companies are offering so much more,
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into De-Education. So this is a platform where I bring designers from different aspects to talk about the design education and how design education has shaped them into better designers. On this episode, we have Sweta with us. Hi Sweta.
Hi Tejj.
So Sweta, how was your day?
It was good. It's a Saturday, so quite a relaxing day.
Wonderful, Sweta. So if you could give a brief about yourself.
Okay, so basically I'm currently working with Infosys, and I've been working for almost 13 to 14 years now. And when I'm not working, I'm mostly either listening to music or playing with my son, trying to cook something new. So I generally put my hands into a lot of different things. I like to experiment and I like to live in the moment.
That's wonderful, Sweta. So what was your journey into design?
So basically, I never thought that, I would get into design. And unlike, the current generation, I didn't have this focused view that, okay, I'm going to study this kind of design and then I'm going to do this kind of work. That was totally not on my mind. When I was actually in my 12th, I was thinking what I wanted to do. Something that I was really interested in was psychology, right? I really like listening to people and, understanding and getting to know a lot more about them. So that kind of interested me, and I tried to pursue that, but I ended up with fine arts due to some personal issues. And yeah, I just went about the course. It was interesting, I must say, but I didn't have any specific direction at that point of time. In fact, when I was finishing college, I literally did not know what I'm going to do next, right? So if you just take the situation, or this whole scenario of design back to 13, 14 years, people did not know what design was, right? It was mostly, when you talk about design, they'll be like, wedding cards, are you doing wedding cards? Can you make this logo for me? Can you print this stationery for me? So either they think of it like that, and if I tell somebody that I was doing fine arts, they would be like, are you doing finance? What specialization in finance? So it took some time for everybody to realize what design is. In that process, I also realized what I wanted to do, something that I was very interested in at that point. From the education that I had received was typography and branding. So I had set my mind that, okay, this is something that I'm interested in, so let me pursue that. That's when I did like a course. I did a diploma in digital visual design, and that's where they teach you all the softwares, and I learned Maya and 3D and Photoshop and all those stuff. With that course, before I could complete it, I was halfway through it, I landed on a job, and that's how my design journey started. So then, it's just life. It's taken me in that direction, and I've taken things as it comes, and eventually realized, what I want to do, and that's what I'm doing now.
That's wonderful, Shweta. Thank you so much for taking us through your beautiful journey. So let's talk about today's topic on working at different design agencies. So as a manager right now in a design agency, what are the various tips that you give to an young creative on working at a design agency?
So Tej, if I'm not sure if you know, but I've been working in the service industry for almost 10 years now. Okay. And previously I was in Cognizant and now in Infosys. They're both totally different workspaces. Although we're doing the same thing, we're transforming digital experiences, but the way we're handling things is totally different. Okay. And currently in the space that I'm working, it's challenging every day, because at the current level, right, we're trying to get more business. And in this scenario, the COVID scenario, it's been tough on all IT companies. In many ways, it has been beneficial because everybody is now looking to go digital. So people are slowly realizing the importance of experience. So we're getting more work, right? And we're able to kind of on an everyday basis communicate with clients and talk to them about how we can make a change to their business as such. We want to retain their values, and at the same time we want to still do their digital transformation. So while at a managerial level I'm working on these things, in the current workspace that we have, we do not restrict our young designers to get involved in the same process, because we believe that it's not about how many years of experience you have, it's really about what you want to do. So somebody who's just a fresher, right, they might be really good at communication and really good at speaking to somebody and convincing them, like they're really good influencers. So at those things we kind of, as managers, we look for those kind of qualities in our employees or in our resources, in our teams, right? And then we try to mold them in those particular capability, because see, design skill is something they're going to learn on the go. It's going to improve every day. And like technology, design also is improvising every day. There is like a new software coming up, there are new things to do. So that is something I think they will learn as they work. But really with young designers, it's more about finding what their niche is and molding them accordingly. Another thing that I would like to say is they really need to come leave that college thing behind and move forward, because right now companies are offering so much more, right? So if they're still going to retain that kind of college behavior or that college attitude, it's really going to keep them at a back foot. Everybody's working towards what next. Everybody is a designer nowadays. If you see, they'll be like, yeah, I'm a visual designer, I'm an interaction designer, I'm a human experience designer, and I'm a consultant, a strategy designer. Like all the fancy words are out there in the market. Everybody is trying to market themselves in a different way, right? So in that kind of a scenario, it's really important to, instead of trying to be everywhere, know what your strength is and move forward, right? And that's really going to take you to new places and learn a lot. So that's something I think all designers really need to know. It not just applies for designers, it applies for everybody, right? One thing I very recently realized, right, that many people who are like at my level, who have like these 15 years of experience, 20 years of experience, they kind of become stagnant at their places, and then they shy away from what is happening. They're not able to relate with the designers who are coming in now, and that can cause a real problem, especially in the space of design, because this is an open space and you need to be in that wavelength to all work together. You can't think of hierarchy in a way that, okay, I'm going to be the manager and you're going to be the employee and you're going to work. That doesn't happen anymore, and especially in design we can't be like that.
Wonderful point you had mentioned, Shweta. That's like coming to the ground and being with all is something that's a major priority these days. And I definitely believe in design there's nothing called as hierarchy. It's always a mentorship or a
True.
frequent guidance that's been always given, rather by a boss or a subordinate sort of thing. So great mention out there. So let's talk about your experience working in these agencies. As we all know that in agencies, we try to get different projects in different months. So few months will be working on retail, few months will be working on automobile. So how is this fast transition helped you up to grow, and also how will it help the young creatives to transform their skills?
So I don't believe that it's really about a season for a specific industry. In the current scenario, all the industries are looking for digital transformation, so there is no specific season. And especially in the last 1 year, I've worked across so many different domains. And although when we look at what their problem is, at one level we see, yes, they want a digital transformation of some aspect of their business, right? But if you go into detail, there is a lot more to the company, right? Everybody wants a digital transformation, but to what extent? How do we retain their core values and then make them go one step forward? Okay, that is something that we're really focusing at, and that is something that's also providing us an a niche when compared to the other companies that are there, who are out there. We've also heard from a lot of customers who are saying that, wow, this is something that's different. Everybody is speaking about design, everybody is talking about digital transformation. But one thing I think is very important, not just now, for the future, is data. It's something that everybody needs to focus on, right? And when data is not just, what exists, right? You use that data to do something, to do a transformation, or to define a problem, and then to solve a problem. And not just that, after that you also need data to kind of say that, okay, this is what I did, and this is what, I was able to transform you into, right? So that is something that companies are really looking forward to. Not just that, we're everybody, all customers nowadays, they know that this is the design process. Okay, define, ideate, prototype, they know that. They don't want to hear that. I hear that a lot from customers. We don't want to know what your process is, we already know that. Tell me, what can you do different, right? What is different between you and in another company? Why should I go for you? And I think that is where, communication, and at the same time the space, the amount of work that you've done really helps, because you're able to speak in numbers, right? You're able to provide data as to how you're transforming businesses for different clients, and that really gives or builds, trust among the other companies. And that is how we're, effectively working nowadays to get more business. And this has been a really, like a soft spot for me. I really love this aspect of design, where you're actually communicating and speaking to businesses, convincing them that, we're doing the right thing for them and we're there to help. So that is something that I really love doing, and something I realized, a little bit after my design journey started. So I'm currently focusing a lot more on that, right? And yeah, I'm just hoping for the best.
Thank you, Shweta. So, if you could elaborate on how does these insights from working at an agency will help boost a young creative?
So for young creatives, right, this is working at a design agency provides a lot of exposure, right? Specifically in a service industry, you're not pushed into just one industry. You're working on one project in 1 month, another project in another month. Sometimes you're working for years in the same industry. This, especially for young people, why I think, a service industry is a great start. Everybody is eyeing on a product industry, but a service industry is a great base for anybody who's looking to pursue design, because you get exposure to all these different service industries, all these different business lines. And that kind of helps you understand, how each of these systems work. And, you could use what you learned, in a logistics business, you could use that in healthcare. What you learn in healthcare, you could use that for retail. That's one of the most beneficial things of working in a design agency. And I think all designers should, make ample use of it, instead of thinking just from the monetary aspect that a service industry pays less. You really need to look at the positive side of things, where you're seeing, how much you're able to learn, and how much you're able to consume in terms of, your learning. That is something that's, a real need and a real boost for fresh designers.
And also, on top of it, it will also add the portfolio value of that individual young designer, as he'll be working across all these domains. So he'll be getting a lot of domain knowledge plus on top of what you had mentioned. So it's a great
Definitely.
win-win situation for a young designer to actually go and pursue on an agency model.
True. In fact, Tej, I've been speaking to a lot of freshers these days, because we've just hired, from all these famous design institutes, right? Design colleges. And they're kind of clueless, like when they come to a place like Infosys, to a certain extent, they feel lost, right? They feel oh damn, why are we in a place like Infosys? Shouldn't I have been, in an automobile industry where I could pursue my product design career further, or should I have been in this place or that place? I mean, it's good to have those ambitions, but when I've been speaking to them, I realize these are their major concerns, right? How do they take what they've learned in their college forward? And a big concern is that in a place like a service industry, they might lose all of that. But truly, I think service companies nowadays are not the same. I mean, the other business lines are totally different, whereas the design space is totally different. And it really helps for them to gain this knowledge across, at least for a year or two. When they've worked on multiple things, they actually realize the true value. And then they're able to kind of, understand what they need to do next. It's really helping a lot of people understand what is it that they want to do next, because not just are they getting to design, they're also getting to do research, they're getting to speak upfront to clients, they're getting to speak to them about what are the requirements, what are the pain points, all aspects of it. This is not, I don't think any other place can provide this kind of a base or foundation for young designers.
Thank you so much, Shweta. So let's talk about some key takeaways that you have gained over this period of 12 to 13 years working in this agency model. And what are the tips that you want to suggest out to the broader audience on reaching or climbing different stages in this agency model?
So these 14 years have been quite an experience. I've worked across different lines of design. I started out with, e-publishing, and then I went into print and ads. Uh, I went into advertisements. Then I slowly moved into e-publish again, and then I started working on web design and applications communications. And when I got into UX, I knew this was the place I wanted to be. So I started with just learning about what UX is. And that really gave me, more of a meaning in life. Like I realized, okay, this is why I have been in design, and this is something that I need to do. And, the main takeaway from this is that, never shy away from something that you want to do. Unless you do it, you're never going to realize that, was this the thing that you wanted to do or not? And if you don't, you're always going to regret it. Some point in life, you'll think, why didn't I do that? So you might as well try it in the time. Don't leave things for the future. We can't live in the future, right? We have to live in the present. And so don't leave things for the future. That is one thing. The other key takeaway is that never shy away from learning. At any stage of your career, you're always going to be learning, right? Something new. And don't aim for, being, at an administrative post, or, what's the next level in that way. Life is automatically going to take you, if you're going to do what you're doing the best, life is going to show you the direction next, right? So never think that I've learned enough or I know everything, because that's where it gives you a roadblock. You're not going to move forward if you've come to that place. So certain things, it's not just about design, it's relevant with life as well. So that is one thing I would say, as another takeaway for me. And the third thing, right? There might be a lot of times when you think that, this is not working for me, and maybe I'm not in the right place, right? While you're uh, earlier, at least, when 10 years ago, 13 years ago, we didn't have so much confusion, product design and material design, interaction design. Nowadays there's so much, so it's bound, it's natural that young designers would be confused. And the whole social media and everything is a huge influencer, and it really in a way guides you as to what you want to do next. You're consuming so much content, you think, okay, this is what I want to do next. I would suggest consume everything, but at the end of it, listen to yourself, right, and move forward. And if you've not done the right thing, then try something else, right? these are certain life lessons that I've learned. The other thing, if we talk about specifically in design, right? Don't always go by trends, design trends, right? It doesn't suit everybody. It will not suit for all clients. Right now, the most important thing is to understand who your, end user is. And that could be the business, it could be the business's customer, it could be the business's employees, right? As designers, I've seen a lot of people are always, talking, we need to design for the end user, right? But I don't think that's the case. You need to find the balance between business and the user, because both are equally important. We can't always think about the user. Definitely, if you're going to think about the user and design, the user is going to be happy, but it could lead to circumstances where the business might face a loss, right? I'll give you a simple example. uh, if you're in e-commerce, okay, or let's say on any of these coupon or make my trip or anything, as an end user, you would be really happy if you got a 50% off or a coupon or something, right? And if you're going to do that for a year just because the user likes it, what will happen to the business, right? It's eventually going to fail. So that's why I think it's very important to understand and strike a balance between business and the user, right? And then design. Don't jump into design right away. Don't jump into solving for a particular problem. You really need to understand what is really required, when you're in a project. And the second thing, right, that's really important is, don't just work as a designer, right? You're not in there just to design. Right now, design is very holistic, right? And in fact, a few years ago, even I used to think I'm the right person to understand what the user needs, or to define what the solution needs to be. But ideas can come from anywhere. It could be the business, it could be the developer, it could be the tester, it could come from anywhere. And you need to be a lot more collaborative. You need to keep your egos aside. You need to understand that, it has to be in a way democratic, right? You have to be open to everybody, and that's when you'll be able to really think out of box, right? Otherwise, most of the people are always struggling, what's out of box, what's out of box, how do I think out of box? But it's really about listening, right? That will help you get there. So these are a few things I think, from a design per se, and especially from a business per se, it's really important. The third thing is, trust the people around you, for and trust yourself when you're doing something. Be open to feedback, especially for young designers. I would like to say this. I know this is a problem across a lot of companies, and a lot of designers who are young, it's very difficult for them to take feedback. And as managers, we're always thinking how to provide feedback without, really hurting them, or, without making it personal. Because our ultimate motive is not to hurt them, or, to tell them that, you're not qualified enough for this. What we really want to do is for them to understand how they need to really get out of what they've already done and do something better. So be open to feedback, be open to criticism. It's only if you're going to think positively about it, it's really going to take you ahead. You're going to learn a lot more things, right? And one thing in general, I think that I want to say, to designers is, don't just look at one problem, right? When, you're in a project, or, you're on a product, if you start thinking about, focusing on one specific problem, you're only going to solve for that problem, and it's going to have its effects on other things, and it's going to cause problems in other places, right? In these years, I've learned you really need to take not just 1-2 steps back to really look at the product, look at the systems around it, look at the application as a whole, and then try to solve for it. this is really going to give you a good it's going to give you a good view, and it's going to help you think beyond what is needed, and it's going to really help you progress in your design journey. I think I gave a lot of gyan now.
Thank you so much, Shweta, for sharing all these wonderful insights. And it was really great hosting you. And we are looking forward to host you again in our upcoming episodes as well. So thanks for your time.
I would like to thank you, Tej, for giving me this opportunity. It's been really great talking to you, and yeah, looking forward to speaking to you again.